This is a day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. You guys, you're listening to the interview. Thank you again for tuning in each and every week. We just enjoy being able to commune with you guys, just talk about these different subjects and just get you guys perspective and on what's going on, not just in our world, but in your world, because we're all in this together. And so we have another exciting topic today. One that I'm pretty sure all of us can relate to in some way. And so today we're talking about the virtuous woman.
Right.
Yes, we're tapping into our inner queens today. And so we usually, go around and say our names, but today we're going to be Queen whatever we are. So I'm Queen Rayma.
Okay. Queen Morningstar.
Queen Sunshine.
Queen Angel.
All right.
Yes, we wear that crown today.
Yeah.
Adjust it and keep it moving.
Straight now.
Yes, and so I just wanted to talk about the virtuous woman because it just intrigues me. Just, tapping into our womanhood and coming to understand that, who we are and our purpose and what we're supposed to do in this world and how we're supposed to carry out ourselves. Because, being a queen and rising to that standard is just a vibe, just something that just... Whoa. When God made us, he said, whoa.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Whoa.
Whoa. Look at what I did. And so just tapping into our inner womanhood. So I'm actually going to read to you guys what Proverbs 31 woman is via the scripture. This is King James Version, Proverbs 31.
Yes, take it back.
And we're going to go through, see what it says, and then we're going to give our opinion on it, and we're going to have a little bit of fun while doing it. So just hang in there because we're going somewhere with this, okay? All right. So verse 10.
All right.
Who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies? The heart of her household or her husband does safely trust in her so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She rises also while it is yet night and giveth meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretches out her hand to the poor, yea, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Woo.
Love that.
So that was a lot. So did any of that stand out to you guys in here?
I guess for me, it took me a while to realize the woman of God I needed to be. And I'm saying that because we've talked about so many different things that we have gone through in life, but until you get to know God for yourself, you never know what this Bible verse really means. I've heard of it. We've talked about it. Proverbs 31. This is the woman you need to be, but this is not as well. You don't have any examples of it outside of your parents or whatever like that, but you're not paying attention to that. So for me, it took me a long time to understand what that looked like for myself, because a virtuous woman is an individual thing. What my virtue looks like will be different than what yours looks like, or than what yours. Like, I may not be able to cook, but I have the resources to figure out what I can do or get the resources I need to do it. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just realizing what that looks like for myself individually and what God has for me. And that's something that took me a very long time and continuing to this day to excel and expand it and ask God, what do you have for me to do? How do you want me to run my household? How do you see fit? And that has been something that has been a continuous transition for sure.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I really want to hear what like the ones that are married and are in a relationship right now, what that looks like for you, because as someone that's single, it's a little different.
You know what? I started figuring my virtue out when I was single.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I started understanding.
Did
that
it
about
change
myself.
at all, or was it created in your singleness, or did it grow or transform once you got into a relationship? Does that make any sense? What I'm saying?
I guess it enhanced something I've already had.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And I'm saying for me personally.
Okay.
Because for a long time I thought when I got married, I'm gonna start doing this now. When I get married, I'm gonna clean my house, I'm gonna cook, I'm gonna clean, I'm gonna do all this stuff. But let's be real, I wasn't doing that or having that type of standard for my own self. So until I started having that confidence in myself, by myself, with me and God, it only enhanced my household once I became in a relationship or that happened for me.
Okay.
So it literally took me being by myself, because like I've said before, I've been married before, and I'll be honest, I was not a Proverbs 31 woman. I was attempting to be in it, but I didn't know who I was from when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I was thinking I was being a virtuous woman, but I was doing it completely backwards.
Yeah.
And for me, virtue comes from within, not without. So, or outside, that's what I'm trying to say. So that's what happened for me, for my journey that I'm on right now.
I think too, though, when we're growing up and figuring out life, I think we actually, in a lot of ways, establish ourselves based on worldly standards or what we see. Because there's a lot of things in TV and in media, and even like in cartoons and just fairy tales and things of that nature. We try to depict what life is supposed to be like, what a mother looks like, or what that role looks like. But this has a lot in it, and I don't think we truly dig deep into this as we should when we were younger, or even know how to process this in our adolescence.
Yeah.
Well, being married and having been single for a great portion of my life, and being married, to see this, there's the part where it's Proverbs 31:26 is the one that is really profound, and really is something that I stand on, where it says, she openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Because when you're bringing two souls together to become one, it seems like it's such a beautiful thing before you get there, but once you're really in it, it's work. It takes a lot of work, and to know basically, how do you come across, and how do you basically handle all of those differences that are there, because it's like you said, that we are built with the worldly standard, where women should be doing one thing and the men should be one way, and how we see the household should be set up, where the man is the head of the house, and the woman is she's right. She subdues, and those kinds of things. But all of those things mean very different things. It's not just, you are a lord over me and I'm your slave. It's, those are very different things. Like, I respect what you have to say as being the man of the house, but there's also wisdom that comes from my mouth. And not just because you are the man, I'm supposed to do whatever you're supposed to say. You got to listen to what I'm saying, because there's wisdom, and understanding how to be able to speak. It's one of the things, our mom always told us, she was like, you can say whatever you need to say as long as you watch how you say it. And and that is something that I've always learned, that I can be as honest as I want to be, as long as we are
Presented in the right way.
Right, it's presented in the correct way. So, and that's what wisdom is. That takes wisdom to be able to do that.
And I think there's an awful lot of strength that comes with being, and I know this word is a little
and say
we shy away from it sometimes as women, and especially as women of strong color. I feel like we
Strong color.
strong color.
You mean black?
Yeah, pigment.
we got that melon popping.
I feel like we shy away from the word submission and submit kind of thing. But I feel like there is a strength in submission.
That's so true.
I feel like, and as someone that is single, when I am looking for a potential husband or head of my household, I am also looking to see, am I able to submit to you? Are you worthy of my submission? Because that is pretty significant and strong.
Yes,
absolutely.
it is.
Because I am allowing you to lead me.
Yeah.
That in itself is strength. But I wanted to definitely hear what someone that is married, someone that's that has been married, that's about to do this whole thing again, what that's
round two.
looking like and all that stuff, right? Like, I want to know what that looks like on your end, because as someone that is single and I have never been married,
She's ready to mingle.
Just throwing that out there.
But I will admit that I have these grandiose ideas.
It ain't nothing like that.
And I feel like it could change. I know that it could change, but I have in my mind, you know what? I'm going to have this peaceful, tranquil environment for my husband.
Which, you know what? I think that's good aspiration. But in that, it's you have to learn how to adapt when it's not like that. And I think this is where virtue comes in.
Yeah.
I think this is what the power of a praying wife.
Yes.
The power of a praying mother is because when it don't look like that, and 99% of the time, it's not going to look like that.
It's a great point. That's a great percentage.
You have to say, okay, God, it's not going to look the way I think it should look. But most of the time, what we think it should look like, it ain't even what God wants for us anyway.
Right.
So
His plan is to strengthen us.
yes, and I don't know if anyone wants to listen to something. I remember listening to Model Homes, the T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes and her and his wife did a really great two-part sermon this year on YouTube, Model Homes, and it discusses this, and it discusses what you said about submission and the strength that it takes. Because as women, and I think for a lot of times until we as women become confident in ourselves and the abilities and the strength that God has given us, and use it for what he called it to be used for, because everyone's home now and things of the nature, so I'm on social media and I see certain things and I just see certain things happening and I'm like, if only this woman knew her virtue and the strength and what God wants for her, the things that she is doing won't be tolerated. You know what I mean? And the things that she's accepting and the way that she is looked at won't be tolerated.
Yeah. I have a guilty pleasure. I watch 90 Day Fiance.
I love that show.
Okay, that's my guilty pleasure.
I love that show.
But I watch the show and I look at some of these ladies and I'm like, what are you doing? I need you to love you more.
Yeah.
Love you more. And then you won't have all this kind of people running over you kind of thing, or making some kind of idea of what your future marriage is supposed to be.
I don't think the world really has. Well, no, I can't say the world. The standards of being a woman in this day is super low. Like when you listen to the music and when you see things on reality TV and things of that nature, it's putting an image out there, and so there's a generation that is growing up thinking it's okay to
That's a generational curse, though. Right? That's a generational
in a
curse.
sense, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like for a lot of women, that is something that is a learned behavior. If you see your mom, your grandma, and everybody doing the same thing, okay, that's what I have to do too. But until I'm not trying to sound super spiritual, but until God comes and show you something different, or even if you want to see something different, because you have to want a desire to do something different than what you've seen, you're gonna continue the same pattern. You know what I mean? And insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Like, I'm being real. I was on Instagram yesterday, and I was looking at it. I follow some famous people. And one, not going to say who it was, celebrity, had people coming on there, strip teasing on Instagram. I'm like, these girls I had to turn it off real quick. I was like, where is your mama? Where is all the women in your life that says, baby, you don't have to do that for attention. Right. You don't have to subject only your body for attention. And like, I felt embarrassed for her, and I know she's like, but it's one of those things that's like, it's like I see you laughing, but on the inside, I saw your spirit die a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that is what the devil wants. He wants the virtuous woman to be dead as the generations become alive, because, like you say, we have wisdom. We build up our household. We build up our husbands. There's certain things. A husband, you can build up your husband and tear him down in the power of your tongue.
Truly, words mean everything.
You know what I mean? Words mean everything in the power of our tongue. As a wife, we don't think we have that, but we do have a lot more power in our household, because we're the glue that holds it together.
Right. So she does some good all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
good all the time.
She speaks highly of him. I mean, this is one of the scriptures, my husband and I've talked about, he's like, Proverbs 31 woman, she's speaking highly of her husband, and the people at the gates, the men at the gates know her husband.
He's known in these streets.
All in these streets.
He's known in these streets.
And she speak real highly of him.
But the men need to realize you need to be doing things that are highly acceptable. Okay.
But but that's part of that whole trying to just kind of follow. There's a pattern and and a wavelength that you come into getting once you get married. We just got married last August, so so there's still all of these kind of we've been together a very long time, but being married gives it a different. It's a different feel. And so, and like you said, it was really important to me, Sunshine said, making sure that I could even be able to submit myself to him. But, I was said to him, you have to be someone that follows God. If you can follow God, then I can follow you. Mm-hmm. But in order for that to happen, it takes you going through some of the knockdown, get
the
up
frogs,
and some of those disagreements and coming back and getting back together and no, you don't get it, and all these things. So there were a couple of times I would pray and just kind of like, okay, God, this is what's happening. I don't know what's going on, and he would come back to me. My husband would come back to me before we got married, and he would tell me exactly, what God's been talking to me about this, and for me to be able to say, okay, you can hear. I know you hear the voice of God, then that allowed me to be able to say, okay, I can follow you. But there are also other times when he's going to say something that I'm kind of like, well, you might want to look at it this way. And that's just kind of, giving that wisdom with kindness instead of being like, what you talking about? We ain't doing that.
You stupid.
Instead of coming off that way, there's a way to be able to speak, not only to him, but to my son. I have to be able to talk to my son. He's 4, being able to talk to my son, your children in a different way, being able to talk to my sisters in a different way. I mean, it's just being a virtuous woman is not just being married, not just being a mother, but it's about being a woman. Being a virtuous woman. So it's not just about you. You can be single and still be a virtuous woman.
Right.
Because it is you. It is part of who you are.
And exactly. I think that virtuous woman starts off, I think you mentioned and touched on this a little bit with your prayer life. And what is my relationship life with Christ right now? So if that is solid, everything else around me is a little bit more in line with what it should be.
Because you said something about when you talk about 90 Day Fiancé, love yourself more. Because when we've said this before, is that as a child of God, God God created me in his image. So if I am learning to love myself, I'm learning to love God more. And my relationship with him is getting even deeper because I'm connecting with him more because I'm connecting with myself. So I think if we don't separate it anymore, I think it will become something that will be loved, something that will be cherished, something that will be loving the skin that you're in without anyone else. Nobody else can be there, but you know that I am, as we talked about, is there with you at all times. And the virtue of that and knowing that and to have the confidence of that changes your perspective on how you're going to be handled, what you're going to take, what you're not going to take, and the standard is higher. And that's something that as women, we are allowed to have those standards and not decrease them because compromise them because God has someone out there for us. And as a virtuous woman, there's so many things we don't look at all the things that as virtuous women we handle naturally. We handle all of these things naturally. Exactly. And that is a God-given gift that we sometimes ignore. And I know for me as a mother, it took me a transition because I had my first kid at 21. That's not young. I'm more than 15, I know. But for me, I was like a baby, okay? I was a baby. I didn't know anything. I wasn't good with money. I wasn't good with none of that. But it took me this transition. My oldest is now 10, about to be 11, this year. And it took me 11 years to become and learn who I am as a woman. And that's something that, thank you God for that opportunity for that, because I'm more confident in my skin now at 32 than I was years ago.
But then there's so many different facets to, I mean, not just women, I know people in general, but as women, we wear so many different hats. And then with all of those hats, we have to be comfortable in all of those hats, right?
Mommy hat,
are we comfortable in the mommy hat, but not comfortable in the wifey hat? Am I comfortable in my just being with me hat, but not comfortable with being a mom kind of thing? So like, I have to be able to be comfortable in every facet that God has placed me in. And I think during this time of me being single, I have come to really dig me. Like, I like
you are
me.
super cool.
I'm a cool chick.
You are cool.
Just throw that out there, you know. Just, two.
But like, I am very well aware of my flaws. I
Single, ready to mingle.
At them because there are times where I am a little bit extra and I need to pull myself together. And I will tell you, Sunshine, pull yourself together. You're going a little extra right now. But there are a lot of times where I'm like, I like just hanging out with me. But the thing is that like, I want to be comfortable, and it's kind of like that whole what Paul says, to be in whatsoever state I am in, to be content in that, and be level and be stable in whatever situation.
And knowing what we're in right now as a country, as a world, people are coming to that realization if they like themselves or not. And a lot of people, we talk about this church today, a lot of people are sitting at home lonely. Because they don't like who they are. And that, to me, I remember those times I had those feelings, and like, I'm like, God, I want to love me. I don't even like who I look in the mirror. But that takes something. You got to be willing to fight for your peace, fight for your confidence, fight to love the skin that you're in, because I know a lot of people around me personally or whatever that they feel alone all the time. And not, I used to understand what they're coming from, but now I know who I am in Christ and that I'm never alone. And as a virtuous woman of God, I am a Proverbs 31 woman. That changes my whole perspective. I am confident. I can sit on the couch, talk to myself, write a book if I want to. I can do whatever I want to and do it great, because I am a person that can handle all these different things. So I love being a virtuous woman. I am a virtuous woman.
There it is. There it is. Oh my goodness, it's so good.
So yeah, I'm just taking it all in. She was talking about, what we're going through right now, and how, you know, some people are sitting at home feeling lonely, but there's people sitting at home right now with other people, and you're realizing who this person actually is. So you kind of like, oh, this who I'm with.
Ooh. I heard it jokingly said that it's either going to be a lot of babies or a lot of divorces.
Yeah, I heard it's a lot of divorces. Unfortunately, it's a lot of people like, I can't do this no more.
I can't have any distractions from
Like,
you.
oh, we here all day together. Oh,
Not just a couple of hours.
right.
But let's be
all
real.
day.
If you don't like yourself, how can you like somebody else?
Right.
If you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else?
That's very true. I mean, and before, you know, you go off into, and as being a single woman, you know, I was 42 when I got married. Okay. So, and there were no previous marriages. So that was a long time of being single and having to be comfortable within my own skin before I entered into a marriage with someone else. And I think, you know, you have to be able to be comfortable with you first before you can expect anybody, because, you know, it's like if you can't love yourself, then how in the world you gonna love somebody else?
You don't even know what love is.
Of yourself.
It's the esteem of yourself. It's called self-esteem. It's the esteem of yourself. So you have to be able to really do that soul searching and really develop that relationship with God on your own before you can venture out and put that out somewhere else. And because, I mean, otherwise, if you don't have that, you know, going into any type of other relationships it's going to be a very difficult battle. Yeah. You know, because it's just going to be very difficult, and you know, there are several things that you have to do. I mean, but looking at this is, you know, as we talked about, just being the virtuous woman, like, let me just be virtuous within myself. Let me feel confident within me first before I put it out there for anyone else, before I go into any other relationship, and, you know, and to see that you're a cool chick, which is nice. I mean, because you have to think about, you know, would I be my friend? Right. Would I, you know,
would I even like me? Some of
the things that we say to ourselves, it's like, you know, okay, if somebody else said that to me, what would I'd probably pop you in the face.
You know, and say, pray for you after.
You know, but these are things that we say to ourselves. Yeah. You know, so we have to think about that. Like, am I my own best friend?
You know, as you were talking, I was thinking to myself about something in the scriptures with Peter. And God asked Peter, do you know who I am? And when Peter told God who he was like, you are the Son of God. And he's like, now let me tell you who you are.
Right.
Because Peter knew Christ, he was able to know himself. And that is huge to me. So the more that we have that relationship with
God,
Christ,
we love ourselves even more.
You love yourself, because he is I am.
Right.
So I am is with me at all times.
Right.
Yes. So if you just happen to tune in, it's been a great show. We've been talking about being a virtuous woman and just tapping into your inner queen, and just really being able to identify and understand who you are as a woman and what your role is in today's society. And so just a recap, a virtuous woman, when you read Proverbs 31, it pretty much gives a detailed explanation of, you know, who we are. But she's a trustworthy, she's wise, she's a good manager, she's into her health, she's faithful to God, she understands, you know, her beauty and how that emanates in her life and her role as a mother, and she's a businesswoman too. If you read it, she's about her paper. She knows
she is.
Yeah, and she's most definitely a positive influence, and her family loves and praises her. And so it takes a relationship with God to be able to possess those characteristics, because he's the one who's shaping us into, you know, who we're supposed to be, because, you know, he created us. He looked at us and said, wow,
because
I made that. You I made that. But yes. So all my women out there, put your crowns on, keep them on, adjust them if you need to. But yes, you are a queen. And so shout out too to all the mothers out there.
That's right.
You guys are just doing it each and every day, and that is awesome. You guys rock. So
yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Until next time.
All right.
Thank you for watching the interview.
Later.
Bye. And it's